what it takes to be happy, we have to understand what is our current blueprint of how our life's supposed to be. Now, what do I mean by blueprint? Well, we have a story in our head of how life's supposed to be. Some people's story is you work hard in school, you become really great, you're a nice person, you're a good person, and then you grow up and you take care of yourself and you find the ideal man and you fall in love and you have a white picket fence and you have 3 perfect children and you live happily ever after. Somebody else's story, the old story was you work really hard in school, you excel in college, you go to work for a big corporation, and you move up through the ranks until you're the president or chairman of the company and you become successful and respected throughout life. These are some old stories. Obviously, the stories that we hear today of what people's lives are supposed to be like are completely diverse. We no longer have these little archetypes, but one archetype still seems to remain. And that archetype is, in order for you to really feel like you're enough, many people believe they have to achieve an enormous amount. They may do it in different ways. They may do it by building a company and taking it public when they're 27 or 25 years old, or they find and create a new technology, or they become a very special doctor. But we live in a culture in the West that teaches people that you're not enough unless you do something really special and unique, and we define special and unique in interesting ways. A school teacher is not special and unique. A mother who stays home with her children day and night, sculpting their minds, their bodies, their souls, and their future is not special. We live in a world today where we treat teachers like they're nobody and pay them accordingly, and we wonder why our children seem to have challenges in learning and growing or being engaged in school. We spend thousands of dollars on some item like a computer, but what we look at overall, we invest in for the teacher and for that person who's the personal connection with them is so small. We live in a society where many women look down and say, well, you're just a housewife, you're just a mother. See, some of the pain we have in our society is not because there's one right or one wrong approach, but because we try to make everybody fit into some particular approach to life. Here's what's going to make you happy or make you unhappy in life. It's real simple. Let's do a quick test. If you're in a situation right now where you look at your life, I know there's an area of your life that you probably feel pretty darn good about. Even if you're not happy with your finances, I bet you feel damn good close to your kids. Or if you're not close to your kids, maybe you don't have any kids, maybe you feel really good about your career. If you're doing not so good in your career, maybe you got a really great body that you've trimmed down or strengthened up, or you really shaped yourself the way you want, muscularly, or in the way you look. Or if that's not happening, maybe you feel a really special connection with God, or really close to your mother or father or your family, whatever. Almost everybody has an area of their life they feel really good about if they're honest, if they're fair to themselves. What's an area of your life you really feel happy about? I want you to think about it for a moment, truthfully. What's an area in your life today that if you wanted to be happy about it, you really could feel proud about it? You could feel like it's an area you're doing darn well in. And if you're really hard on yourself, there's still an area. What's an area? I want you to think of it right now. And I want you to think of that area, whether it's your body or your finances or your career or your intimate relationship or your relationship with your kids or your relationship with your creator, whatever it is. I want you to think about, why are you happy with that area of your life right now today? Why are you happy with that area of your life right now today? Really think about it. If you were in a seminar with me, I'd have you write this down. And if you can put me on hold here for a second, because I'd like to reveal to you the formula is for happiness. And if I say there's a formula for happiness and here's what it is, you're going to go, yeah, sure, that's what he says. But if you put down the answer and we can see the formula is real without me telling you what it is, you get to look at your own life and say it matches. You're going to know this is right. So you could stop this right now if you want, put me on hold, and just write down what's an area of your life you're really, really happy about, you're really pleased with, or you could be if you wanted to focus on it. And why are you happy with that part of your life right now? Even if you're not happy with everything, what's the area you're happy with and why? Put me on hold right now, or if you're not going to do that, just think for a moment. Why? Specifically, be why. Now, when I ask this, if you turn me back on now, if I ask this of an audience, I'll have people write this down for a few minutes, and I'll call on people, and I'll say, share with the person next to you first. What are you happy about, and why are you happy in that area? And be specific. And after they share, I'll have people stand up, I'll call on a variety of people, and I say, ma'am, tell me, what are you happy about? And she'll say, well, honestly, I'm really happy with my body. She goes, I never thought I'd say that, but I used to be so unhappy with it, and I did some things, I pushed myself through, and now I exercise regularly, and I'm not perfect, but I feel fit, I feel strong, I feel energetic, and that's really, it just feels good to me. Now, I say to everybody, I'm now going to show you what the formula for happiness is. And it's real simple. I want to reveal it to you so you don't ever forget it. Whenever you're happy with an area of your life, it's because right now, your current life experience, I call it your LC, your life conditions, the conditions of your life conditions in that area match or equal to your blueprint, your story, your belief about how life should be in that area. So this woman says to me, I'm really happy with my body because it's not perfect. Her blueprint is I don't need to be perfect, but it's so much better than it was. I'm fit and I'm strong and I have this energy. Her mental blueprint says I should be fit, strong, and have energy. I don't need to be perfect, but I should be that way. Well, when my life, my body matches how I think it should be, I feel good about my life. I'll ask somebody else. I'll say, tell me an area you're happy with. Someone else will say, well, I'm really happy with my career. And why? Well, I'm doing better than I even thought I would be. I mean, I'm ahead of the schedule of where I hoped I'd be at this stage. I'm working at this level in this company, and I have these skills and this ability, and it's even better than I thought. Well, once again, listen, this person's happy with this area of their life because their current life conditions in the area called their career are even better than they expected they would be, better than their blueprint, better than their belief of how it should be. If it's really better, you tend to be over the moon. One woman would say, I gotta tell you, I said, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my whole life. How come? She goes, because I have this man in my life and I'm in love with him and he loves me and I can be myself with him. And we have this incredible intimacy and this passion and we want to be with each other all the time and I never get bored with him. Well, what's her blueprint? You want to be with somebody that you can have total intimacy with, somebody who you love and loves you. Those are part of her rules, her beliefs of how it should be. She said, it needs to be, I never want to be with anybody else. I want to be with them every moment. Her blueprint about how life should be and the way she lives, her relationship's even better than she hoped. When it's better than you hope, you're going to be totally excited. So think about this then. What's an area you're not happy with? Let's see if we can find the formula for unhappiness. If the formula for happiness is to be able to meet your expectations or exceed them, that really makes you excited, but to be happy, you gotta at least meet it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you generally are meeting what you expect you want from your life in that area, you feel good. Life conditions match blueprint, feel good. So what makes you feel bad? What creates pain, stress, frustration? Real easy way to figure it out. Answer this question. What's an area of your life you're not happy with?
Through its association with the famed Stanford University Neuropsychological Research Laboratory, and through 7 years of intensive investigation into the science of human achievement, Cybervision Systems has uncovered what it believes is the master key to success. The master key which unlocks the raw potential that lies dormant within the heart and mind of man. Simply stated, we call this key self-discipline. Self-discipline. What's the first thing that phrase makes you think of? Unfortunately, for most people, the term conjures up images of strictness, long stretches of boring or irritating work, of self-sacrifice and self-denial. Nothing could be further from the truth. Truly self-disciplined people are not bored, unhappy, or suffering from any kind of deprivation. In fact, they have learned to give themselves the true joy that comes from pursuing and achieving their most cherished goals and dreams. What then is self-discipline really all about? The simple answer may surprise you. Self-discipline is your ability to systematically and progressively work towards a goal until you have reached it. It includes acquiring knowledge and skills. It's your ability to become positively obsessed, single-minded, and efficient, to strive without giving up, to work consistently day after day, week after week, and year after year until your purpose is fulfilled. Self-discipline is the power to say, this is what I really want in life, and this is how I'm going to get it. And if I have to give up some other things, I will, because it's worth it in the long run. To be self-disciplined, you must learn to develop the kind of obsession that glows like a beacon in a storm. You must learn to watch that light and steer your course towards it, no matter what gets in your way or how long it takes. Like a sailor, you must learn to use the skills that will point you in the right direction, and you must keep on using all your knowledge, skill, and energy to stay on course until you have reached your destination. Self-discipline is the single ingredient that makes success possible for anyone who dreams of achieving great things. Without it, there would be no Olympic gold medal winners, no great artists, musicians, or writers, no brilliant inventors, Grand Prix winners, or multimillionaires. Every person who has made an enduring success of his or her life used self-discipline to get there. If self-discipline is so effective, why don't more people have it? Unfortunately, we live in a quick-fix society where old-fashioned effort isn't appreciated. Nearly everyone wants to be an overnight success. People spend their money as soon as they make it to get instant gratification through material things. And then the same people wonder why they're not getting anywhere. The truth is, without paying the price and without making an effort, most people will fail at what they set out to do. It takes years of hard work and discipline to master a skill or craft. Years of putting in 7-day work weeks to build a business from scratch into a multi-million-dollar operation. Years of schooling and internship to get a medical degree and start a doctor's practice. And years of tempering and seasoning to become a prima ballerina. We all greatly admire successful artists, business people, and doctors, among others. But how many of us are willing to put in the years of work it took for these people to get where they are? The late Ray Kroc, the founder and guiding genius behind McDonald's restaurants, told a wonderful story about the contrast between the self-disciplined achiever and the wishful thinker in a speech he gave to MBA candidates at Dartmouth College. He said, "I'm reminded of a story about the great pianist who gave a concert, and at the end a lady rushed up to him and said, 'I'd give anything in the world if I could play like that.' And he said, 'No, you wouldn't.' She could have if she wanted to. Anybody could. I know, as a piano player, that piano playing is mechanical to a great extent. But it's the dedication, the disciplining to practice that makes the difference. And when you're talking about a concert pianist, he has been practicing for years. Years of practice, several hours a day, every single day. Practice, 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 practice. Sacrifice and discipline. That's what it gets down to. And so he said, 'No, you wouldn't,' meaning that what she said she wanted to attain, she wouldn't pay the price to get. To discipline herself to do the studying and practicing required to be a concert pianist. How many times have you heard yourself saying, 'I'd give anything to be a doctor, or a lawyer, or president of a company, or a singer, actress, or dancer, if only I had the talent or the education or the intelligence?' The truth is, with a minimum of talent and average intelligence, you could be any one of those things. With a steady, sustained effort that never falters, never crumbles, and never gets lost in unimportant details, you can be anything you want. Many people believe that talent alone is the key to success. Talent might play its part, but it's not the difference. In every field of endeavor, millions of talented men and women with special talents are wasting away, contributing little to their own success or the good of mankind. And every day, we see others who are less gifted, but who have accomplished more. Many believe that education is the key to success. Though it is a valuable aid, it is not the difference. The educated derelict is a common sight, and so is the man or woman who has achieved phenomenal success without the advantage of a formal education. And many believe that intelligence is the key to success. Even though a person with a high degree of intelligence is fortunate and possesses the raw materials to be successful, the relationship between intelligence and accomplishment is something less than balanced. Every day we encounter highly intelligent people who barely get by, and their opposite number, men and women of average intelligence, but superior achievements. The one quality which sets one man apart from another, the one key which lifts one to every aspiration while others are caught up in the mire of mediocrity, is not talent, formal education, nor intellectual brilliance. It's self-discipline. With self-discipline, all things are possible. It's the closest thing you could have to a wish-granting fairy godmother. Without self-discipline, even the simplest goal can seem like the impossible dream. In America today, the greatest cause of failure is the lack of self-discipline. Lacking self-discipline, millions of American dreams turn to ashes. With lofty visions of success, many people don't know that it takes more than wishful thinking, shortcuts, gimmicks, and get-rich-quick schemes to achieve excellence. Somehow, most people have lost sight of the age-old truth that anything worthwhile achieving takes time, organized, persistent effort, and more time. As you look around you, you'll see the many obvious fruits of the undisciplined mind: poverty, unhappiness, and drugs, the social cancer of a quick-fix society. But it is the not-so-obvious, more subtle effects of the lack of self-discipline that we address here, the raw power and potential of talented and intelligent people that lies dormant, unchanneled, and wasted, untapped and unfocused because of the inability of these people to commit and mobilize themselves to a course of consistent action. The lack of self-discipline is the #1 killer of achievement in America. Successful people have one thing in common. They set their sights on a goal and work every hour of every day towards reaching it. They learned what they needed to do to reach that goal, and they found a way to do it. If it meant taking on an extra job, they took the job. If it meant going to school at night, they attended evening classes. If it meant working countless hours 7 days a week, they worked the hours. If it meant relocating themselves and their families, they moved. Success consists of self-discipline, and self-discipline consists of doing whatever you have to do for as long as you have to do it to get where you want to be. If you truly want to seek your fortune, you must develop the inner strength to relentlessly pursue your vision day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, until it becomes a reality. And it will become a reality. Stop and think about all the things you wish you'd accomplished, the things you know you could have accomplished if you'd only had the self-discipline to pursue them. Would you have gotten more education? Practiced and practiced at your favorite sport until you had a chance of becoming a pro? Learn to read and write music and play an instrument? Study engineering so you could design and sell the ideas you're always dreaming up? Actually, there are things you've accomplished through self-discipline way back in your childhood. Just think, how long did it take you to learn how to walk? Or how many weeks and months did you struggle to stand upright? How many bruises did you get from falling down? And how many times did you pick yourself up and try again? You learned to walk because as a toddler, you became obsessed with learning to walk. You were determined to learn, no matter how hard it was at first or how long it was going to take. Every step you took was a small victory, and every time you fell down, it was just an excuse to start all over.
I mean, be honest with yourself. And even if your life is great in all kinds of ways, I'm sure there's an area you'd like to improve. Anybody who's honest, if they're doing great in their career, very often they don't take care of their body so much. If they're really focused on their body, very often they find themselves in a position where they're not spending enough time with their kids. Or if they're spending time with their kids, their intimate relationship's not doing so well, because it's the nature of human beings to focus on areas they feel comfortable with and strong in and give those time, and the areas they don't feel so strong and they go, I don't have time for it. What they're really saying is, I don't feel very competent in that area. So what's an area of your life that you are not as happy with? I mean, it's healthy, honestly, to look at areas and say, I don't like it, I want more. This whole concept of a breakthrough is about how do I close the gap between where I am right now and where I want to be. That's what we're here to do. It's like, here's where I want to be, here's where I am. It's healthy to see there's a gap. That makes me have this hunger, this drive to grow, to feel alive, to expand as a human being. So what's an area you're not pleased with? Is it your body? Is it your finances? Is it your career? Is it your spiritual life or lack thereof in terms of feeling connected in that area? Is it your kids? Right? What's the area? What's the area that's not where you want it to be? And then answer for a moment, why aren't you happy with that area of your life right now? Why specifically today are you not happy with that area of your life at this stage of your time of your life? Again, you can stop this and write it down. Might be useful for you. Or if you're going to keep it running, you can stop it and you'll turn it right back on and I'll kick into it. Do that now. Or if you kept it running, then I'll give you what happens. I have people write this down and they don't like this exercise so much. Well, I don't like my body, or I don't like my finances, I don't like my career, I don't like the person I'm in a relationship with, I don't like myself the way I'm in relationships. Why? and they write it all down. Have people share back and forth. I call on people, and the lesson's pretty clear. I tell people in advance, here's the formula for unhappiness. I'll show you before you do anything else. When your life conditions, the way you're living your life today, does not match, it doesn't equal your blueprint, your story of how it's supposed to be, then you're going to have disappointment, frustration, or pain. If your life is way different than the way you think it's supposed to be, you can have enormous pain. If it's a little different, you might feel stressed. Make sense? So people stand up and I say, tell me, what's the area you're not happy with? The person says, well, I'm really not happy with my finances. And I go, why? And they say, because I'm doing worse now than I was 5 years ago. I made mistakes in the market, and at this stage of my life, I should have this much money, and I don't have it, and I don't know how to change it, and it's making me crazy. And why are they crazy? You say, well, because they don't have their economic needs met. No, you can not have your economic needs met, and you can still be okay, but when you have an idea, this is what my need is, and I did the wrong thing, my life doesn't match how I'm supposed to be, that's when people get a little crazy. See, think about it. If you grew up taking care of folding your own clothes, making your own meals, going to the store, doing the grocery shopping, cleaning the bedroom, cleaning the house, vacuuming, taking out the trash, and you did that your whole life, then if you have to do that later on, you don't feel like you have economic pain because you don't have a maid. But if you grew up in an environment where everything was done for you, you never have to work, and now suddenly you have to work incredibly hard to just pay enough money to pay your bills, and all of a sudden food is building up and the house is dirty and your clothes aren't folded and nothing matches, you might find yourself really angry and frustrated because you have a different story about how life's supposed to be than how it is. Someone else will say, well, I'll tell you why, because I'm in a situation now where, I'm 30 pounds heavier than I should be. Should be is the key word. There are people in all cultures who love being big. There are people that will walk around and someone else might think they're massively overweight, but they're going, I own this, honey, and they really, truly, they match their blueprint. Big is beautiful, because their idea is big is beautiful, I'm big, that's beautiful, matches my blueprint. Rock and roll, I'm happy as can be. Somebody else can look like a twig and be stressed out saying, I hate my body, because their blueprint says I should be the skinniest thing on earth and I'm not skinny enough. Am I making sense? When your life conditions don't match your blueprint, you're going to have pain. But here's when you suffer. When I ask people, who here has been through the dark night of the soul? Who's been here in a situation where you feel like life isn't worth living? Or you feel like a pain that just will never go away? And a lot of people write down those experiences, like Joaquin. So you'll begin to understand what the issue is I'm talking about here. Joaquin, if you recall, was in a situation where this man felt like there was no reason to live. He couldn't work, he couldn't do anything, his life was worthless. Why did he think that? Because he had a blueprint. And his blueprint said, I need to be an NBA basketball player, at least a professional basketball player. I need to be able to make money and have this great lifestyle because that's what makes me worthwhile as a human being. That's what makes my family respect me, my mother, my uncles, my aunts. I'm the successful one in the family and I make the money. I support everybody. He's a good man. He didn't come just to be successful. He took care of his mother, his family. He tried to be an inspiration for people. Joaquin Hawkins is a man who was always going out on his free time and training kids and showing them the pathway to freedom, how they could play basketball and get free like he did and get out of the inner city. So this man is not a selfish man, but he knew this is the way to be worthwhile. This is the way to be able to give to people. This is the way to take care of your family. And all of a sudden, one night, what happened? That way was taken from him. He has a stroke. In the middle of the night, his life conditions make it impossible to be who he has to be, or he feels like he's worthless. You get it? We have an identity. We have a story of how we're supposed to be. And if life somehow gets in the way of that story, we feel pain. But if we feel we have no control, that's when we go into suffering. See, it's one thing to say my life doesn't match my blueprint, I gotta lose weight. That might stress you out. Or my life doesn't match my blueprint, I'm not in a relationship, I gotta get in one. That might motivate you even. You might not like it, but you're gonna find a way to get in one. Or my career doesn't match how I should be, you could change it. But when you start believing that your life doesn't match your blueprint, and you have no control to change it, you're helpless, that's when people suffer. And so this week, for your breakthrough, it's a chance for you to start to take a look at your blueprint anywhere you're really having pain. Hey, look, if you're doing great in some area of your life, celebrate it, of course, and I'm sure there are many areas you are. But life is really a series of growth spurts. I mean, two things in life make you feel alive: growing and giving. And what's really wonderful about this man, Joaquin, is he was constantly growing, trying to get better, trying to be a better teammate, a better basketball player. Think about it. When he didn't make the teams and he didn't make the NBA, he didn't give up. He worked even harder. The guy was always striving to become something. And he became it, and he achieved it, and then life took it from him. Isn't that the common denominator with so many of the people in the stories of this 6-part series that you saw, these 6 specials? I mean, Frank and Kristen had a blueprint of what life was supposed to be about. We're supposed to get married and have children, and we're gonna have our own business. And all of a sudden, life doesn't match the blueprint. And suddenly, there's depression. Because in their case, they said there's nothing we could do. But they were wrong. They were wrong because they discovered, and Frank discovered, I can make a difference in my wife. The chair, even though I didn't create this and didn't ask for it, this chair does not define me. I can become more than I was before. I can have the impact with my wife. I can have children. We had to change his blueprint because we couldn't change all the conditions of his life. Does that make sense? I couldn't get him to physically walk again. Maybe someday he will, but we can't count on that. What we got to count on is that he can be fulfilled by seeing he isn't helpless. And I did that through a series of experiences that violated what he thought he couldn't do. The same thing was true with almost every one of the people we worked with at some level. And in Joaquin's example, it was also true. Joaquin said, well, I can't ever have this quality of life again because I'm not a professional basketball player. And he was locked into that mindset, and all of us get locked at times. But to his credit, to a system of steps, we were able to break him out of that. We were get him to see that he isn't helpless. Because here's your choice. Watch this now. If you're suffering, if you're in pain, your life doesn't match how you think it should be, and you think you're helpless to change it. Now you have only 3 choices. Choice 1, blame something. And that's what Joaquin did, if you recall. He blamed his coach, he blamed what happened to him, and of course these things were outside his control. But he blamed his coach, and a big part of the healing, if you watch this session, was bringing his coach in and getting him to see, hey, you know what, all that anger, all that resentment inside of you, Joaquin, A, it's not based on the truth, and B, like Nelson Mandela said, you know, having resentment in your soul is like drinking poison and hoping that your enemy will die. It doesn't work that way. And when Joaquin was able to break out, his breakthrough was a change in perception, to realize this coach wasn't stopping me. I just felt like I lost everything, and so I don't know how to change it, so I'm looking for something to be mad about, someone to blame, so I don't have to blame myself, or I don't have to feel so helpless. Because when you're angry, you don't feel so helpless. You feel strong for the moment, even though it's a fake strength. When he was able to make that breakthrough, he could stop blaming, because these are your 3 choices. When life doesn't match how you think it should be, blame something. An event, someone else, or yourself. As we talked about earlier in this series, blame games just destroy you. There's no progress when you blame. For the moment you feel okay, but nothing changes. What are your real choices? You only have 2 choices in life. If life doesn't match your blueprint, you either have to change your life. That is, you gotta say, you know what, my body isn't there, I'm gonna go work out. My relationship isn't there, I'm gonna change it. You know, I'm not making what I gotta make, I'm gonna retool, I'm gonna get a new skill, I'm gonna go back to school, I'm gonna start a business, I'm gonna do something. You have to do something to change your life. Or, in order for you to be happy, if you can't change your life, you're gonna have to change your blueprint. It takes the ability to deal with those extreme stresses that happen in your life by questioning your limiting beliefs. And again, we'd love to coach you and show you how to change those in a permanent way where it happens automatically, just like lifting weights so often until the muscle's always there and you find yourself able to follow through. It takes for you to be able to figure out how to deal with crisis and how to turn it around. It takes facing your fear. It takes pushing yourself through what used to stop you. It takes putting yourself in a position where you connect to what's more important than just yourself, what you value than just yourself. And it takes, I think in this case also, the ability to realize that no matter what happens to you, you're more than that moment. You're more than the story you think you're supposed to be. And that even when you're not matching what you think you need to be, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe you're having to find a different part of yourself that's going to fulfill you at a much deeper level. Sometimes failing to get your goal gives you your destiny. I can't tell you how many people I've known over the years who had an idea of what they thought their life was supposed to be like, and they didn't achieve it, and they felt miserable and upset and frustrated, and one day an opening happened and they went, oh my God, thank God that didn't happen. I think it's Garth Brooks had a great song, and it's a song about when he was in high school and he was in love with this girl, infatuated with her, and she didn't even know that he existed. And he prayed to God every day that she would notice him, that she would fall in love with him. And then sure enough, she never did. He was so disappointed. His blueprint didn't match. His life didn't match it because she didn't even know he existed. And he felt this suffering. He could do nothing to turn it around. Well, 15 years later, he became a guy named Garth Brooks, somebody everybody knew, and he could rock, stadiums with his energy and his song and his music. And he goes back to be at his high school reunion. I think it was his 15-year reunion, if I remember correctly. I don't remember the exact year, but all I remember is he said he saw that woman that he was so obsessed by. He was looking forward to seeing her. And now he was Garth Brooks, and he met her. And after he met her and spent some time with her, he wrote a song called Thank God for Unanswered Prayers. Sometimes not getting your blueprint's the best thing that ever happened, because the disappointment drives you to find something more important inside of you. Or not getting it makes you look for another aspect of your life, a spiritual aspect, a family aspect, a physical aspect. If you can just trust that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, then you can find in any situation a benefit that can take your life to the next level.